So my bio mom ended up telling her husband at the time the truth, that she cheated on him with a black guy. He obviously wasn't very happy about that, but they said, you know what, we're gonna keep this a secret. We're gonna pretend that this is our 4th baby because they had 3 other children already. So all of their friends and family thought that my birth mother was pregnant with baby number 4. But then they were like, realistically, what are we gonna do when the baby, aka me, was born? And my biological mom was like, I know what I'm gonna do. She said,
It's crazy some of the lengths women go to just to hide the fact that they're doing something wrong. But to pretend that your child died so you don't get exposed is wild. I know you want to hear about what happened in this story, so let's get into the mess.
A spiteful mum who faked a DNA test to block her baby's biological dad from seeing her has been jailed. Georgina Saville, 25, spun a callous web of lies to derail Kyle Fitton's legal bid to see the newborn and another daughter they shared. The pair had been in a toxic 4-year relationship, with Kyle, 26, moving out shortly after Saville fell pregnant with their 2nd child. She gave birth to the baby girl in January 2022, but blocked her ex from seeing the newborn. When his legal team requested a DNA test from his ex, she sent them bogus results, claiming the baby girl belonged to her new boyfriend. Vengeful Saville was today jailed for 32 months. Despite begging to be spared personas, she is 6 weeks pregnant. Rejecting her pleas, Judge Peter Henry said, "You are pregnant, but it's quite clear that you became pregnant knowing that you were facing a sentence for this matter and knowing that the court had warned you that custody was very much on the cards." Saville was previously convicted of perverting the course of public justice and a rare charge of willfully making a false declaration as to a birth.
This woman's got some nerve. To go that far just to stop a man from seeing his kid is crazy. And after all that, she even got herself pregnant when she knew she was awaiting sentencing. While she deserves what she's getting, you have to feel bad for the child that's being brought into this mess. It's not rare for women to weaponize their children if things go south with their partner, and this is despite the fact that they're more likely to get primary custody. Faking a whole DNA test takes things to the next level though, so her getting locked up for it is the only way this circus should have ended.
You give birth. The doctor comes into the room and asks your husband and only your husband if he wants to do a DNA test to make sure the baby's his. He says yes. Is he wrong for that?
Yes, he is wrong for that. If he wants to do it, I'ma do it, and he won't have a wife by the end of it.
Get the DNA test, make sure it's yours. If she got a problem with that, she's doing something. I'm gonna be honest, she's doing something.
Yeah, he's in the wrong. You should have all your trust in your wife, and you shouldn't have to question whether she's cheating or anything.
We both agree that it's fucked up.
That's a little messed up because you don't trust your wife who just gave birth to your child.
Yeah,
come on.
Fuck it, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, you might have a little conflict over it, but nigga, make sure you're sure about your kid, man. You want to make sure that nigga yours.
Why are all of the girls so against this? If you don't have anything to hide, then we could just do the test. If everything comes back copacetic, then we could live happily ever after. What are you hiding?
As always, it seems like most women are against the whole paternity testing thing. But like the guy says at the end, what have you got to hide? They always like to argue that a man should completely trust his wife and trust in the fact that she's not cheating, but this is nonsense. There are so many relationships in which people are having affairs, and their partner doesn't have a clue about it, and this is something I've seen myself on multiple occasions. Like everybody always says, women will never have to concern themselves with the child being theirs because they're the ones who gave birth, which means they always have 100% certainty. I think mandatory paternity testing should be standard. But let's see what the people in the comments are saying. DNA tests should be standard before they even leave the hospital. I definitely approve of the DNA test, and then just be a single parent. It's not an issue for me. It's always funny to me how the majority of women never seem to try and see things from a guy's perspective when it comes to paternity. But at least this next commenter gets it. I would be in my feelings and feel insulted, but I understand, especially in the world we live in now. And this is real. As I said earlier, a lot of women who cheat on their partners aren't under any form of suspicion, so their trusting husbands wouldn't even think to get a paternity test done. And to me, these are the guys who are most vulnerable when it comes to raising a kid that might not be theirs. BS, my ex had a kid by another man and tried to convince me he was mine. How many paternity test shows have you seen where the guy says he's not the father, but the woman's adamant that he is, and even gets super pissed off when she's accused of lying, but when the results are revealed, it turns out that he's not the dad after all.
So my bio mom ended up telling her husband at the time the truth, that she cheated on him with a black guy. He obviously wasn't very happy about that, but they said, you know what, we're going to keep this a secret. We're going to pretend that this is our fourth baby because they had 3 other children already. So all of their friends and family thought that my birth mother was pregnant with baby number 4. But then they were like, realistically, what are we going to do when the baby, aka me, was born? And my biological mom was like, I know what I'm going to do. She said, I'm going to tell them that the baby is a stillborn. And so when August 31st, 1996 rolls around and I'm born, she obviously gives me up for adoption to the 2 greatest parents I could ever ask for. And then once my parents took me away, she said that her friends and family sent balloons and flowers and cards and all of these things saying, I'm so sorry for your loss, because she had told them that I had died at birth. And I didn't know any of this until the day before I turned 18. But the absolute craziest part about all of this is that they have no idea to this day that I was born.
While the girl in this video seems to be okay with this whole thing, this story actually made me sick to my stomach. To cheat on your husband and get pregnant for another guy is bad enough, but to then lie to your whole family and say that the child died just because you don't want to deal with the fallout is cowardly. The mother in this story made the decision to step out on her husband, so why shouldn't she face her family and friends in shame? And what's funny is, I don't think she would have even told the husband if the man she cheated with wasn't black. At the end of the day, she had to come forward because once the baby was born, it wouldn't be long before the husband figured it out. If he didn't suspect his wife of cheating and she had gotten pregnant for another white guy, he would have been another victim of paternity fraud, and there's a good chance he never would have found out. This story just goes to show how far people are willing to go just to save face. Her family was most likely devastated about losing a baby, but as long as they could keep their secret, I guess it didn't matter. When I went through the comments of this video, I was kinda surprised by how many people have experienced something like this. Honestly, I didn't even know this was a thing. My mom lost custody of all of us when we were little. My youngest sister was born with disabilities, and to cover up losing us, she told the family that my little sister died. It wasn't until I was older and went looking did I find the truth. To this day, I don't know where my little sister is because it was a closed adoption. I pray she was as lucky to have good parents. My birth mother did the same thing, told everyone I was dead. I've had 3 stillbirths, and this is terrible to think someone would lie about it. Also, they didn't deserve you, and you are beautiful. Your biological family would be sad if they knew they missed out. Between all the stories I've covered on TikTok and Reddit, this was one of the cruelest. It's absolutely crazy to me that people would go this far.
Fun fact: paternity tests, which are used to confirm a man is the biological father of his child, are illegal in France. And if a father is caught using a paternity test in France or in any other country, he could face up to a year in jail and a $16,000 fine. In 1994, France banned DNA testing because it had the potential to break up too many families. Even today, at-home DNA tests like 23andMe are banned in France. Because in France, 5 out of 10 men and 4 out of 10 women admit to cheating on their partner. And culturally, the attitude towards cheating is quite relaxed. So the government worried that allowing DNA tests to be conducted freely would unnecessarily tear apart too many families, saying the law preserves the peace of families. And the only way to get a legal paternity test in France is if it's ordered by a judge.
It's absurd to me that a man doesn't have the right to know if a child is his. Since this technology is widely available, I wonder if it'd fall under being a human rights issue. Even though men can go through the court like the guy suggested in this video, it's unlikely someone will do this unless they suspect their wife of cheating. But again, as I've mentioned throughout this video, a lot of people have no clue that they're being cheated on, so they wouldn't even think to go through this process. And even if they did suspect their partner, they'd have to jump through a lot of hoops to get it done. The normalization of cheating in France should make men want to protect their interests even more, so I wonder why they're not making more noise about this over there. It's funny how this is a law that disproportionately affects men, and I bet you any money that if women were having their rights infringed like this, it'd be overturned in an instant. I had to do a quick Google search on this to see if men were fighting against this in France, and in the process, I came across this comment on Quora. Women, it's an inalienable right to get an abortion since women have to endure pregnancy for 9 months. Also, women, men don't have the right to discover if they're the biological father. because that can lead them to not pay child support or support the child without knowing it's theirs, even if they have to work 20 years or more for that. French government. Abortion is a woman's right. Screw the offspring's welfare. Also French government. Men don't have the right to paternity testing because that goes against the offspring's welfare. Pathetic and disgusting. I thought this comment was spot on, and I'll never understand why and how a government in a developed country is allowed to stop a citizen from finding out the truth about their own life. Anyway guys, that's about it for today. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.